Hello and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your latte drinking, tree hugging snowflake host, Morgan. And today the snowflake takes on a bit more of a meaning because we're going to talk about oil drilling in the Arctic. What exactly is going on as I'm speaking to you right now? Well, the Trump administration is pushing to roll back regulations from 2016 that protect the Arctic from oil and gas exploration. Now, it's important to protect the Arctic from these things because when you are drilling for oil and natural gas, and if an accident happens, like an oil spill, well, that pristine wilderness can be damaged beyond repair, especially in areas like the Arctic, where the ecosystem is already sensitive and already under stress from things like climate change. If you just Google oil spills in recent times, you can see plenty of news about the damaging effects that this can cause on ecosystems, especially in places like the Arctic. In the early 2010s, Shell was actually drilling in the coast off of Alaska, which is where our story is going to be taking place today. I'm not going to go into depth about this particular instance. It is just mentioned in a couple of the articles I have linked down below, so it is worth noting that Shell had a spill and found their whole process disappointing and fraught with a bunch of legal battles. So with all of that in mind and their catastrophic spill back then, they did abandon their drilling in the Arctic. So now that that's mentioned, we need to talk about what's going on today and the fact that this Trump administration is pushing to reopen that coastline for oil and gas exploration and drilling. The Department of Interior, who it's important to note has a bunch of officials currently that are just bathed in oil, are calling these regulations that protect the Arctic and came out in part because of that whole incident with Shell in the past, unnecessary, burdensome provisions, which I guess makes sense for them to say since they are in bed with big oil and gas and don't really give a damn about the environment. They just care about improving their pocketbooks. But essentially what they're pushing for is for oil and gas companies to begin picking parts of the Arctic Wildlife Refuge coastal plain that they would like to drill on. And they're also trying to push for this whole 30-day comment period that needs to happen before any sales of leases can take place. They're pushing for that to happen as soon as possible. And if it happens as soon as they want it to be, then the lease sale can occur prior to Biden taking office and the Biden administration being in control. So this is very much a Republican-led measure. All of the articles I've looked at note that, and it does make sense. And so this Republican-led measure and all of the PR are claiming that this whole opening this Arctic Wildlife Refuge to drilling off its coast is a good thing. And they're saying that it's a good thing because, quote, it's long overdue, which I'm not entirely sure what that means other than the argument that there's a bunch of oil underneath the sea there. So in their head, it's long overdue because they should have been allowed to drill wherever the hell they want. Meh. That it will create jobs and then it will promote energy independence. But all of that is kind of misleading and it's damaging, and let's talk about why. So the Arctic is already a very threatened ecosystem that is rapidly being impacted by climate change. So it's already stressed in one area. We are already losing the Arctic and Antarctic regions globally. So do we really want to seal this fate of the United States' last pristine wilderness for the benefit of the oil and gas industry? Do we really want to let these oil and gas moguls destroy what has been noted as the last bit of pristine wilderness in the United States. I would argue that no, we should not want that. And also this would open up the precedent for opening more of our federal and public lands for drilling and mining and other things that the Trump administration has been pushing for. Just Google Trump administration mining Grand Canyon. You'll see a point there. And the world is pretty much shifting towards green energy, and by continuing to insist on a dependence on fossil fuels in the United States, we are effectively going to lock ourselves into an energy dark ages while the rest of the world catapults into the future with sustainable clean energy. And I and many other science-minded individuals like myself would argue that that is a bad thing, that we shouldn't be clinging to the oil-soaked past that we're accustomed to. We should be embracing a cleaner, more sustainable, more healthy future. And not only more healthy for humans, but also more healthy for the environment. Because if the environment is healthy, human populations are going to be more healthy as well. And we can achieve energy independence and create good, sustainable jobs with green energy. There's absolutely no reason why we can only achieve energy independence and job stability with fossil fuels. The only reason that they want to cling to this so hard is that our Department of Interior is just basically a bunch of oil moguls and representatives and lobbyists, and that is absolutely horrifying because that is a massive conflict of interest, especially when the future is in green energy, not in this goopy, gross oil. And so remember how I mentioned at the beginning here that they're trying to push through and kind of fast track everything to get it done before Biden takes office? There's a reason for that. And the reason is that Biden, if the lease sales haven't already happened, can reverse this decision to open this Arctic Wildlife Refuge for this drilling. And they don't want that to happen, especially since the Biden administration has already outlined that they will not allow for exploration of these fossil fuels along that coastal plain. Sure, the coastal plain only makes up about 8% of that total refuge, but if there's a spill, oil spreads and seeps, and it will cause major effects throughout much more than the area where the spill happens. So one spill can lead to massive ecological disaster, especially in delicate ecosystems like what we find in the Arctic. The bottom line here is that Alaskans are split on this decision. So there are some that are in favor, which is not surprising because Alaska is a heavily red Republican state. But there are also those that don't want this to happen, that recognize that the drilling is only going to destroy one of the things that makes Alaska so beautiful, and it's that pristine wilderness. And the Trump administration is recklessly trying to push this through before the Biden administration can take power and put a stop to this irresponsible decision that would keep us stuck in the energy dark ages. And with that, we need to shift towards green, sustainable energy. Because if our country would just embrace that green energy is the future, then this wouldn't be an issue. If we can get on board that sustainable energy is what is going to help keep the world great and help keep us healthy, and that keeping ecosystems around is a freaking good thing, then we can all move forward together because the future is in sustainable energy. Fossil fuels are eventually going to run out. They are not a finite energy source. And if we invest in green, sustainable energy, the jobs created in that area will be around to stay. But fossil fuels are going to end. Fossil fuels and the jobs that are dependent on those fossil fuels are going to end up going the way of the organisms that made them possible. They're going to go extinct. And when that happens, all of those jobs that the people in favor of this drilling are saying are going to pop up and it's going to create new jobs. Well, those jobs have a time limit. As soon as we tap out the fossil fuels, those jobs are going to go away too. But if we shift towards the sustainable energy, not only will we be protecting wilderness, protecting wildlife, protecting ecosystems, but we will be creating jobs that will be around for the foreseeable future. So that's all I really have for you guys today. I do encourage you to check out the articles I have linked down below. They're essentially mostly about the same, but different ones have a little bit different information in them. So I do encourage you to check out as many sources as possible whenever you're researching anything, especially when it's a headline you see pop up in like your Twitter feed or something. Because the first headline I saw about this being accelerated was in my Twitter feed a couple days ago. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm sorry that we didn't have biology for beginners today, but like I said in the last bio for beginners video, we are likely going to take a break between units for a week, and the filming of the last few videos and the filming of the videos that I'm filming today were so close together that it just wasn't feasible to get a bio for beginners ready. So I am taking that week break. But I will love to see you guys all in the next one. Thank you again for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell if you would like to see more. And if you'd like to follow me on any of my other social medias, the links are down in the description below. Don't forget to check out thereptilegoth.com for all of my articles and blog posts. If you found any value in this video and you would like to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon page. That link is also in the description down below. And a special thanks goes out to my Diamond Dragon patron, Diane V. What you're doing is really helping me fund a dream here. I will see you guys all in the next one.